If you're looking for the best mic for your podcast, you're probably drowning in options. I'm going to save you hours of research and get you the best mic for your podcast. Over the last 5 years, I've worked with some of the biggest podcast hosts and creators in the world, including Diver CEO, Lewis Howes, Ali Abdaal, and Colin and Samir. So I'm going to save you a bunch of time and tell you which mics you should go for. And personally, there's probably only really 2 mics that I would recommend, and this depends on your budget, and that is the MV7 by Shure, or the fan favorite, the podcast mic of choice, the SM7B. So I'm going to play some audio samples now, side by side. And to be honest, I think you'll probably have a preference over which one you like the sound of. But in all honesty, if you had one of those in isolation, they will both sound good. You might just have a preference to how warm it sounds or how the trebles handle or something like that. You might just like a certain type. So this is mic recording A. So this mic sample is around about 3 inches from my face. It should have lots of nice bottom end, and it should be very articulate. The noise in the room, the air conditioning, should be minimal because I'm so close, and the gain should be set quite well. This is test 1. So here we go again with sample B. So this microphone is also around 3 inches away from my face. Do we have some noise in the room? Can you hear the sibilance in my voice on the S's? Now let's see how this stacks up against the other microphone when we should be similar in terms of gain level, etc. But honestly, these mics are all great quality mics, and you can even handle some of the differences with post-production workflow, which you probably should be handling anyway when it comes to your podcast. So I think the first mistake that people make is they buy a mic that is too cheap. And often now, actually, you can get some really good quality mics for really cheap. You can get some good mics at some affordable price points, but also you're looking for longevity of that item as well. There's a lot of places online that might recommend things like the Samsung QU2 or the Blue Yeti. These are not really mics you want to be touching, in my opinion. They don't really stand up to the quality of some of the mics I'm going to show you here. Maybe ease of use, yes, but honestly, one of the mics we have, the ease of use matches that, and the quality far surpasses it. Then some people just want to jump right in to get the industry standard microphone. The problem with this is that they don't understand that with microphones like this, there is often a hidden cost, which one of the manufacturers has tried to resolve, but I believe most people are not aware that there is extra equipment that you will need when you buy these microphones. So the cost, although maybe in your budget, will often move up in price when you have to buy the additional equipment. And mistake 3, people will often obsess over the quality of the microphone sound when they're probably not really have the ear to understand how it sounds. As professionals, we've tuned our ears over time to hear those things like the low noise or the highs or the reverb or all these things. That often professionals, they don't hear these nuances. So they might want to go out and buy this microphone, but they don't understand it either. That being said, also the listeners are not hearing those sounds. So you're going to spend a lot of money on something that isn't going to get you the return. There's a diminishing return at a certain point where, yes, you can go out and buy the best gear possible if your budget is there. Totally fine. And if that's you, go for it. But I think at some point there's diminishing returns that the listener of your podcast won't even hear. So you've got to factor that in. If you've got the budget for it, great. If not, you don't need to go there. So now we're going to reveal the results of the sample test. So sample A was the MV7, powered through the USB interface in the microphone. The MV7 with the USB is probably my favorite mic because it's so simple to use, right? It has the USB, we can plug it straight into the device itself. It also has some of the built-in processing, which I'm not a big fan of, but this mic is so versatile. We can use this for Zoom calls as well. It's just a very solid, easy to use mic. It does have the XLR, so if you have multiple people podcast, you can plug this into a device and record both tracks at the same time. But I think this microphone is one of my favorite microphones, and that was sample A. Sample B was the Shure SM7B. Now this is the industry standard mic. This is known as the Joe Rogan mic, but it's not a specific podcast mic. This mic has been around for many years. It's not specific to podcasting. It's just found its home in, especially the 21st century, in podcasting. So for me, the SM7B, I do believe it sounds better. Does it sound remarkably better than the MH7? No, I don't think it does. And also with the SM7B, for instance, you have to buy the additional hardware. You have to buy the audio interface for it to go into. You have to buy the Cloudlifter to boost the signal, because these mics really do need some help getting that volume up there. And if you don't use a Cloudlifter, you're going to have to crank up your gain. And often with especially cheaper preamps, that will introduce a lot of noise. And again, you can fix that noise with some of the tools. But if you can get a clean signal going into the mics in the first place, that's where you're going to win. So yes, both of these microphones are great microphones, but there's a price difference here. The MV7 on Amazon right now is around £260. And the SM7B is around £340. So not a huge difference, but considering some of the things we need to buy now for the SM7B to make it work, will inflate that price. The first thing you'll need to buy for the SM7B to make it work is an audio interface. So I've just got a very simple Behringer audio interface. This is a 4-channel interface. And the reason I got this is because I want to run multiple mics into this for in-person podcasts. But there are very simple, cheaper audio interfaces like the Focusrite Scarlett that will do a really good job, but still you will need more equipment to run the SM7B. And along with other equipment that you need to buy microphone cables, and they can run you 10, 15, 20 pounds, depends on what you want, the length, quality, etc. You also need things like this. So I bought the Fathead, which is a Cloudlifter. So there's also one called Cloudlifter, and what these do is they boost the gain. So from your audio interface, you will power this with the phantom power, they call it. That's plus 48 volts. And this will give your microphone a little bit more power, so it boosts that signal before it reaches your audio interface. Now, what that does is it means that you don't have to turn up your audio interface really loud and make that hissing noise, because if your audio interface is not the highest of quality or doesn't have the highest gain, you will start having that hiss. So this will boost it before it gets there, which means you can turn down the audio gain. Now, this can just plug straight into the microphone, or you can also just run it in between 2 cables. It just looks like this, and you can see it just is an XLR on both sides, male and female. So you can just plug it straight into the microphone here, or you can run it between 2 cables, and then your cable can come out of that straight to your audio interface. Yes, the microphone was only £80 more expensive than the MV7, but now we're having to add more additional items. So the cost of this soon starts adding up. So in total, you're buying a microphone for £340, a Cloudlifter for £70, 2 XLRs, let's say £7.50 each, so £15 there. And you're also going to be buying a interface, which may be around £170. So the price then starts racking up. And then you've also got the complications, right, of how does all this go together? Are you doing it the right way? If you have the money, hey, go for this mic. It looks great on camera. It sounds great. It's popular for a reason, right? If you're just starting out and you just want a good, easy to use mic, get this mic. This mic is solid. This is such a good microphone, and you can do lots of things with it. Maybe when your podcast is taking off, maybe you then want to upgrade. Anyway, I hope that has helped you make your decision between the MV7 and the SM7B. We have clients who use both of these, and like I said, we've been doing this for 5 years now. Honestly, I think the MV7 for the price is just an outstanding microphone.